Kyrie Irving, yeah. And his friends turning on him like Oprah.
All right, okay, all right. Speaking
Oh
of
shit!
speaking of buck breaking.
Speaking of people with questionable loyalty,
Speaking of motherfuckers with questionable drinking habits,
Hey, who want to take it?
all right, so
pause.
yeah, pause. But yeah,
The NBA
Kyrie
will, yeah.
was suspended by the NBA earlier this
By the
week.
by the Nets, by the
What
Nets,
by the Nets?
NBA.
Yeah, he already served the suspension by the league, and then he was suspended by the team. And
He never had a league suspension.
oh, he did. Oh shit.
No.
All right. Well, the Nets said that as terms of his return, he had to complete these 6 tasks, and
As
6 point
Jay-Z
plan.
would call them, actionable
Six
items.
six point plan. Actionable item.
actionable items.
Right. As Jay-Z would call them.
And yeah, it's wild that he is maybe the first person in the NBA to have been suspended and have to fucking halfway house 10 step they put way back into the league. And these 6 tasks are to apologize and condemn the film he promoted, to make a $500,000 donation, complete sensitivity training, complete anti-Semitism training, because apparently that's a whole different other set, and then meet with ADL about some other shit. And I can't read the 6th one.
Okay, so it's
Be with team
apologize
owner.
and condemn the film he promoted.
Mm-hmm.
Make a $500,000 donation to anti-hate causes. Complete sensitivity training. Complete anti-Semitism training. Meet with the ADL and Jewish leaders, and then meet with the team owner Joe Tsai to demonstrate an understanding of the situation. So he has to apologize. He got to pay. He got to go to school. Then he got to go. He got to take. Then he got to take. Then he got to take an
Test.
aptitude test, and then he has to take. Then he has to take a final
Just the oral
graduation exam.
exam.
Then he got to go in front of the parole board.
Right.
What if the
Yeah.
ADL don't like his seating? Do he still got to go meet with Joe Isis?
Hey, look, my thing is this. He meets with the ADL, and then he meets with the Josiah. If Josiah don't deem him worthy, did the ADL lesson fail?
Right.
Did they fuck up in sensitizing him in the training? Like
Right.
he got all this shit. If I've done all of these things and I got to you,
And I still don't like you, motherfuckers.
did
know
they
what?
fuck up?
Right.
Educate
Ain't
me
this
in
just a
this shit.
formality at this point? Ain't you supposed to just pin me and put me back out on the bench? Like, ain't my like I'm here with the fucking like I thought when I got to you, right? I know I'm gonna have my motherfucking diploma cakes. I thought you were supposed to slide a diploma in this motherfucker though.
I thought I was,
So you're trying to tell me I got a whole nother class?
I thought I was just coming to graduate. This is the whole exam. I gotta tell you what all of the red and white stripes mean on the flag now. The fuck?
Say, nigga, I got an exit exam? Oh hell no.
If I pass all these other classes, then at this point, yeah.
Yeah. So, if you don't know, Kyrie Irving, he shared a documentary. Hebrews to Negroes. A couple weeks ago, I think we covered that.
That nigga didn't even share a documentary. He shared the link.
Right. He shared the link to the video on Amazon.
Hey, look. That could lead to a semantical argument. I don't even want to have it. He did that, right? And then they said we ain't like that. And he said, well, so. And they said, well, you got to go. He didn't say much after that, other than my bad. I apologize if you offended. And they said, well, actually, he said, my bad if you offended. That wasn't my intention. I like everybody. And they said that's not an apology. And then they put out the 6-point plan. And then he said, all right, I'm sorry. You wanted 2 R's and a Y? Okay. All right. So 2 R's and a Y. I think it's 2 R's and a Y. Is it just an R and a Y? You know I can't spell. How you spell sorry?
Yeah.
It's 2 R's and a Y.
Okay, cool. So the joke was the joke. He said and it was like, no, we need 2 R's and a Y.
We need to get a firmer timeline because it was some other shit that happened in between all this shit.
No, there was no other shit. I know the exact timeline. He shared the video. They questioned him about it in a press conference in which he said, you are trying to dehumanize me. I just made a post about some shit. And I'm going to leave it at that. It was a film. Watch it. Do what you want with it. The end.
Right.
And then that's what he said. And it was like, no, not the end. That was just part 1. Nigga, part 2 is here. And don't get on the bus.
Right.
For 5 games. Actually, it was the before the 5 games. Before that, it was the joint statement with the two of them saying, "Hey, yo, look, I'm not an anti-Semitic. I'm not anti-Semite, and to prove as much, I'm gonna give $500,000 to the ADL. And hey, yo, look, they gonna give also $500,000 to the ADL, and we cool, right?" Then the ADL, and then they did not a press conference, but an after practice interview. Which I don't know why motherfuckers be trying to get to talk to people when they exacerbate it. Like, dude, I've just been running around for 3.5 hours. Why you talking to me right now? Anyway, he said that I said what I said. I'm not anti-Semitic. How could I be Semitic? I am. I think he said that. That's what Jesus said. And Jesus was saying that he was a Jew. So Kyrie said, I am that I am. And they lost their shit. And then that's when they came out with the fuck that. Okay. 6-point plan. All of that. And now here we are with all the shit. But in the interim of all that, there was a lot of pundits. There was the pundits. There was the pundits jumping in with their motherfucking opinion.
Right. So did you see Nick Cannon meet with some rabbi?
I did. That's a clip.
Did you?
But before we get to those clips, don't play them yet. But yeah, I was gonna get to that. But
what I like to point out though, my perceived disdain that I don't would have been a.
You got to repeat all that because you broke up through all of it. You good now?
I see myself breaking up. All right, so yeah, the perceived disdain I saw on the Jewish man's face as Nick Cannon was trying to explain to him exactly Kyrie's plight, and it was clear that there wasn't supposed to be a back and forth there. It was clear from
that's the
it was clear from the guy's face that Nick was just supposed to be there under tutelage, and that should have been it. But once Nick tried to explain anything, the look on the guy's face just changed. He appeared to be short at that point. No, I don't even know what that means. I don't count what. And then just look at him from that point forth. He's like, nigga, I don't want to hear this from you. Yeah, nigga, we run this shit. We don't care about your place. You can just see it written on his face. And I don't think. You said what?
I didn't come here to listen.
Yeah, and I don't think we would have been given that same leeway. I don't think had the situation been in reverse when there was some type of sensitivity training for us to sit there and look flabbergasted and appalled and annoyed at the mere explanation of why we're here. The shit is just mind-boggling.
I don't think we get the same opportunities.
You said what?
I don't think the same opportunity presents itself.
And I'm just saying, playing devil's advocate, if it would.
I get it, but when we're transgressed against, and we are transgressed against all
every week,
there's not a lot of legitimate rationale to be said behind it. I don't think. Now, if you want to claim that the Jewish people were transgressed upon, okay, I'm going to disagree with you there. Not even going to argue with you. It's not necessary. But upon the dissemination of information, like Nick was doing, when it's met with the disdain that is met with, your disposition becomes disingenuous. If your disposition is against discriminatory practices, racism, hate, things like that, then when someone is telling you about other things, you wouldn't be so dismissive. One, actually, before you even get to being dismissive, the fact that you're so obtuse to it, you're so oblivious to the plights of others, when you want them to be so engaged and knowledgeable as to the plights of your people. To the comments I think you were mentioning the buck breaking shit. When Nick mentioned buck breaking to that individual, and he immediately hit it with the, what is that? I don't know what that means. What is that?
Yeah, he just looked like it just had nothing to do with this conversation.
But I don't know that gentleman, but I'll make some assumptions. I believe he's an American-born citizen. I believe he's lived in this country his entire life. I believe he's been exposed to the notion of slavery and the circumstances surrounding it, i.e., Jim Crow, i.e., buck breaking. I wouldn't think that those would be such foreign concepts to someone who is so attuned to human rights violations and atrocities amongst people, atrocities inflicted upon people. I would think that you would know some of the more prominent ones that come from the country that you live in and are a citizen of.
I got one even better, because there's always a realm of plausible deniability there.
No, fuck that. No bullshit. No, fuck that. You can. I'm not. No, I mean, you're not gonna be a scholar and not know this shit. You're not gonna be an intelligent person in this society and not know these things.
Hold on.
My bad that he went.
Here. I got one for you. I got an alley-oop for you though, right? Since he's a scholar, but only of his own diaspora, and this is a problem with appropriation of language, right? Is that what this is essentially about?
No, but okay.
No, I'm making Semitic, that you can't be Semitic, so therefore you can't have these viewpoints. Because that's how Kyrie and them.
You don't know the basic atrocities of slavery.
But I'm not even going there. I'm talking about
the most diabolical, fucked up thing the country of your origin has perpetrated amongst people. You don't know the most surface details about that. But you know all about some shit that happened in the whole other fucking country.
Yes. So let's go with that. You know what happened in a whole other country, down to from your history, from your natural history, down to the Semitic tribe, the tribe of Shem, right? So you know the Holocaust all the way back to your slavery. And now you have a problem with African Americans identifying with the Semitic word, right? So you have onus over language that was meant for what you deem your people. Why don't y'all have a problem with the appropriation of the word ghetto?
Ooh.
They were definitely not describing black areas at first.
Hey, look. Some shit that's
Told you, I'm
uncomfortable.
always gonna hit you with a curveball thought that motherfuckers can't dance around. Like, fuck it, fuck slavery. Let's attack this laissez-faire language shit y'all want to play with.
Y'all don't want all the language.
Right. So what?
Because there's a certain kind of connotation surrounded by the term ghetto.
Yeah. So why can't we have that one?
That was developed, and also, look, it wasn't exactly positive about ghettos. Derive a certain connotation of
Holocaustic history.
No, not just Holocaustic history, but as the way they're determined, as the way they're described now, is a sort of self responsibility associated with the term ghetto. There's a sort of like you made your
Onus.
bed,
You
now
were saying
lying.
onus. We've
There's a certain onus. But onus implies that we want the word, or we want to take it, and where it means that where it comes from is not a pleasant place. You know what I'm saying? It's not something good. So to disavow yourself of that connectivity, I get it. I get it. I get it. I get it.
I just want them to answer that one question, and then we could go from there when we could see
I get it.
what ground they stand on as far as this semantic language they want.
Fam, you know the answer, fam.
Oh, I know the answer. I just want to hear it.
Oh.
I want to hear it because once we hear the shit, like then we got a ground to walk on. Might not be solid because they're gonna move the flagpole at some point.
They're never gonna answer that question.
They're never gonna plant ground.
Never. Do they ever plant ground? Do they ever? And I'm talking about the Jewish people, ever acknowledge the fact that people aren't speaking of Jewish people in totality. They're talking about Jewish people in control, and there are Jewish people in control. You run these organizations. You either own them or you install the CEOs or the presidents or the CFOs. If you don't own or are not the president of that organization, I guarantee you in your executive level, there is representation. I guarantee you, I can go out on the limb and say that the representation isn't of a bunch of black people in those offices. We are underrepresented population, population dynamic. What do you call it? We are underrepresented population. What's the word? We are an underrepresented populace, right?
Yes.
They are an underrepresented populace.
Right? Overrepresented populace.
No. In society, I mean, as a proportion of the people, us as black people, we are around 13%. Right? I'm just talking U.S.
Mm-hmm.
Jewish people are what percent of the population?
7% of the population, 10% of the religious population
of the U.S. So
7 and 10.
7 and 10.
Two aspects of Judaism.
Right. So add them together, and I don't know what you get because I know you can't just add. 10. You just can't add the 7 and the 10 and get 17. I know that's not how that math works. Yeah, but if you add that 7 and you add that 10, maybe you get 15. Maybe you get 14% of the population. I don't know.
No, we're going with 10 at the most.
10 at the most. So an even less representative segment of the population. Now let's look at where that particular segment of the population presents in corporate America.
Probably 60 to 70%.
They're not 10%.
Oh, definitely not.
And that is the thing that people are saying. You are overrepresented in one area where you are underrepresented. And it's just a question as to why. How? Because us as an underrepresented portion of the underrepresenting portion of the population, I can't say represented because that's just what we are. We're 13% of it. That's what we are. It's not our representation. It's just our number. Cool. With that being said, why are we not able to overrepresent in these upper echelon positions and places in society? Why are people of your ilk overrepresented there? And why is it a thing if I say it? It is a matter of fact. It is not a conspiracy theory. If you look it up, if you research these people, if you look at their bios, they always say some shit of Jewish descent, a father of Jewish descent, a mother of Jewish descent.
Shit, they made sure to tell our motherfucking vice president was of Jewish faith. They make sure at every fucking turn during her campaigning that they mentioned she was of Jewish faith or married into Jewish faith. Hey. Black woman.
Black woman. I'm just saying.
That's how powerful that term is.
I'm just saying. Just to act like, just to ignore the fact that is being stated is asinine to me. Just in it on his face. Makes no sense. But hey, look, go about it. Be oppressed. Act like you don't know what buck breaking is. Act like you need a Nick Cannon to explain it to you. Do those things. But rest assured, I am judging you if you want to claim to be a scholar and are being schooled by Nick Cannon.
Hey. Nick Cannon can read.
Nick Cannon can read, but Nick Cannon is not an educator. Nick Cannon is not an activist. Nick Cannon is a television host. Why is he the person you're leaning to or looking to toward for explanation of the Black experience of knowledge base? Why are we looking at the comedian? Not to denigrate Nick Cannon at all, but to say, why is he the individual that you want to look toward to have this conversation with? He's not having this conversation with, if it were another entertainer wanting to surround themselves with an entertainer to talk with somebody on their level, not a problem. I see the rationale in that. But to seek out conversations with people who are, for all intents and purposes, less educated than you on the subject matter, because this is your wheelhouse. This is what you do. This is not what he do. This is his hobby. His profession, comedy, rap, acting, telling random ass improvisational jokes.
Man,
he don't have a class. He don't have a class nowhere. He ain't wrote no books. He doesn't do those things. He ain't went to school. We don't know him for going to school for these things. He's not a scholar in that realm. Not a professor. So why him? Because you think it's easy and you're going to be able to best this individual with information. But hey, look, got tricky for you. The comedian fucked you up with some hard questions. Haven't heard a good answer from him yet. So I know You definitely don't want to interview the Farrakhan's or the
Nah, he don't want to talk to Farrakhan.
the brother Rizza Islams of the world. Hell, the Tariq Nasheeds and the fucking what's the old boy Marcus Garvey's that I don't know who goes to Dr. Umar.
Oh, Dr. Umar. Shit. Speaking of Rizal Islam, the government just put his ass on the Dirty Dozen. 12 most negatively influential people on the internet.
Oh, when you speak something that's uncomfortable, motherfuckers will smear you.
One of the 12 most negatively influential people on the internet. The government just remanded him as that. And question about this Kyrie thing. So if I'm understanding it correctly, he was released without the lashings. Am I correct? He didn't have to go through with the 6-point plan, and he's been reinstated as of today.
He's been reinstated, and you want to know why he's been reinstated?
That's where I want to speculate at.
Hey, look, no speculation needed. We have it. I got the clips. We could play it. We could play it. There's a very, very clear, distinct reason as to why Kyrie Irving was very recently unsuspended. He didn't play tonight, but he also wasn't suspended.
But before you play the clips, what is your assertion of why?
Oh, because motherfuckers started banding together, and it was like, oh shit, yeah. We went a little too far.
Who do you think was the resonating voice? Because I got an opinion. I sent it in the chat. You said Jaylen Brown.
Yes.
I think that was the one that they wasn't expecting. I think Shannon Sharpe has been getting slowly more and more militant as time progresses, but I think he jumped out the window on this one. I applaud him for that.
Shannon Sharpe?
Shannon Sharpe
started off by killing this motherfucker. He provided the terrain that made them comfortable with doing all this extra shit. Because if we look at the timeline, they escalated as it went on.
Yeah, I know. That's why I think
more and more people, as the Stephen A. Smiths, as the Shannon Sharps, as the Shaquille O'Neals, as the Charles Barkleys came out in opposition to Kyrie Irving, it seems like motherfuckers got emboldened and was like, you know what I want him to go? I want him to wear a motherfucking yarmulke on Juneteenth and doing Kwanzaa. I want him to celebrate yarmulke.
Yom Kippur.
What's the Jewish holiday? Hanukkah. Fuck Kwanzaa. Hanukkah now, motherfucker, for you. Like, it was ridiculous. And I only think it got ridiculous because they got emboldened by watching these other motherfuckers also participate in cheerfully joining in the lashing of this motherfucker.
And I think Shannon Sharpe flipping sides was the turning of the tide. I think he was, for all intents and purposes, in that instance, Herschel Walker. And that motherfucker was like, oh, Herschel just flipped? Hold up. Before this shit get any deeper, if Shannon, for all intents and purposes, they use Shannon Sharpe as a fucking canary.
To see how deep it can go.
To see if it was gas and Shannon Sharpe died. Goddamn, oh shit. Let's get about this time. Let's get about this cold man. Let's get about this cold man.
Oh, okay, all right. They killing that motherfucker. Okay, yeah, now we out.
Yeah, Shannon Sharpe just passed out. Come on, let's go. Let's back up out here.
Little too deep.
Yeah, it's some gas. It's some noxious gas down there.
They love him because he was drinking Hennessy on TV and he wore a stocking cap on his head, smoking Black and Milds in backwoods, even though nobody smokes backwoods. Who the fuck smoke? Nigga, did you smoke a? You know damn well Will smoked them.
You know, God.
It froze on God.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah.
I ain't gonna make the King Hippo joke. But it was there. But it was there.
Fuck you, nigga. I got shoulders. You see these shoulders?
Hey, look,
Shoulders.
he had shoulders too. But hey, look, when Matt get his ass in that X,
I ain't had shoulders, and I couldn't
his
do
mouth
this in a
just
while.
popped open. It just stayed there.
This ain't
Hey,
looked
look.
like this in like at least 15
Hey,
years.
look. Real quick, sidebar. Shout out to you and your journey. We haven't acknowledged that on this show at all.
Yeah, well, thank you, brother.
But you are a slimmer version of yourself, sir.
I have to pull
I
up.
don't necessarily
Look, I have to pull up my beard so you can see a nigga got a neck around.
Motherfucker got a neck. I don't necessarily agree or condone the methods in which you went about this particular transformation.
Nigga got a neck around this motherfucker.
Hey, but progress is progress. Motherfucker got a neck. I ain't gonna hate.
Wrist.
Sleeves is loose and shit.
Motherfucking head didn't get no slimmer though. See, that was my problem. I thought I was gonna at least be getting into a fitted hat. I ain't look, but when
it take a while to lose that cranium calories take a while to burn.
I honestly don't think I have any cranium fat to lose. Maybe lower jaw, but I think this is all just head meat. I think it's just there. I mean, because I've always been in a size 8 hat. And 8 was it. I didn't even know they made a 9. Like my size hats are like Shaq shoes. If I can get one that fit
custom.
No, you might be able to walk and get some off the rack, but it's a misprint.
No, you can't walk and get another rack if you Shaq height. They put Shaq's shoe in front of the store. It was a novel. You are a circus attraction, fam. This is what they do to.
They offer child rides in his shoe in front of the store.
That part.
None of his shit at Burlington.
Shit. So we got what video y'all want to go with first? LeBron, Nick Cannon, reinstatement, Jay Williams, Jaylen Brown. It's a hey, look. Let's start from the beginning. Start with LeBron bullshit. Because I just want to get my Killmonger on real quick. I just want to say that real quick while you play LeBron's clip.
What you would call LeBron auntie, nigga?
Nah. Black Panther 1, fam.
Hey, auntie.
Black Panther 1.
The song, I thought you was about to hey auntie the nigga.
Other line.
Black communities, to Asian communities, you guys know where I stand. And it's part of the reason why I didn't air the shop episode, why we kicked that, out of the archives, because it was hate conversation going on there. And I don't represent that. There's no place in this world for it. Nobody can benefit from that. And I believe what Kyrie did caused some harm to a lot of people. I don't condone any hate to any kind, to any.
This is your king. This is your king. This is your king. Bring that back up real quick because the motherfucker said shit in the beginning that I just fucking can't stand. But this is your king. The beginning. Bring it back.
Anyways, to Jewish communities, to Asian communities, you guys know where I stand. And it's part of the reason why I didn't air the shop, why we kicked that, out of the archives, because there's hate conversation going on there.
Pause it. Stop it. You can get done. That part right there. I just wanted to touch on that real quick before we continue with the Kyrie conversation.
So this shit is just bothering me.
Huh?
I said the opposite of that shit is just bothering me.
Oh, it's fucked up. It's fucked up. But real quick, it's something that I want to pull out real quick about this high road, this pious ass position that he has about removing this episode of The Shop with Kanye on it. I've been in the barbershop, not for a very long time, as evident by all this shit. It's been a while since I've been to a barber shop. But when I was in a barbershop, motherfuckers talk. And motherfuckers argue in the barbershop. That was the crux of the barbershop conversation. Because I'm gonna say some shit that's gonna be controversial, and that motherfucker disagree, and we get to going back and forth about it. And that's what made the barbershop such a thing, as to why you wanted to form a show around the construct of the barbershop because of the conversation. Now, things about conversations is somebody says something and somebody else says something else, right?
Mhm.
You want to hide this Kanye conversation because Kanye was being so hateful in his speech towards a certain population, or because
Nobody said
Kanye
something
was
else.
saying some shit that wasn't exactly
Disagree with.
disagreed with in the shop. Was that shit resonating when he was saying it, and y'all motherfuckers was nodding y'all heads and was like, well, shit, nigga, it's been. And then after the fact, when you get around some other motherfuckers and they tell you that was hate speech, and now you're looking at it, yeah, that was hate speech. But when you was in it, it was a conversation. Hey, look, even if you thought it was hate speech in the moment, the fact that you did it in the moment is what should be shown. And if you did it in the moment, you did it then, I don't think that you would be so ready to just kill the candy episode. I think you're hiding the episode because the conversation went like it would go in a barbershop when it's just us talking, like it's just me and you. And you like, yeah, them motherfuckers is some bullshit though. Yeah, you is right. I think there was a lot more co-signing of what Kanye was saying in the barbershop than counter argument based on what he was saying in that episode of the shop that I haven't seen because you won't show it. Kanye's already in the bad light.
I'm telling you, Michael Jackson gave us the way with that Martin Bashir. He should have. Everybody needs to follow that motherfucking model, man. If they follow the Michael Jack model.
Say it. Say it.
Oh, no, the Martin Bashir. Y'all don't remember the Martin Bashir interview? Well, Mike knew they was going to be on bullshit. Right next to him. And sure as shit, Martin Bashir chopped up the interview and had it all in disarray. And Mike played his version straight through. He's like, I didn't say that. That's out of context. I didn't say that either. They're put that part before that part, and it makes it all backwards.
It makes it different. It makes it different than what I said. That's not what I said. I said
it's been edited. And they denied it. And then Mike popped his tape out like, no, baby, I taped y'all too.
I was recording the recorders.
Yeah. Martin Bashir is still like a top fucking reporter. Like that's
Dan
how
Rathers is the top reporter.
That's how
Listen,
nothing our opinions matter. Michael Jackson had to expose the expose, and nothing happened to that British motherfucker.
Nothing will happen. Nothing will happen. We'll sit here. You put it up. So the next one you can go with. Oh, you want to go next? You can start playing. You can play the J. You can play the Nick Cannon one, and then the Jay Williams one next. Okay.
But yeah, everybody needs to follow the Mike Jack model. You never know when these motherfuckers is gonna motherfucker.
It's the bug breaking one though, right here with Nick. I'm ready when you're ready though. Go ahead. Please.
But yeah, look at the look on this guy's face.
I know Kyrie Irving is not anti-Semitic.
When given the chance to say, are you anti-Semitic or not, he didn't say, no, I'm not anti-Semitic. At the press conference, tell us about that movie, why he did. He said, stop dehumanizing me. And the movie is saying white Jews invented the Holocaust and 6 million Jews didn't get killed. Okay, I know that isn't right.
Right.
There's a gigantic historical record. Jewish people know when you dehumanize us this way, we know what's around the corner.
So in that same statement as those are the tropes that dehumanize Jewish people, the same buck breaking.
What's that? I don't really know what that means, to be perfectly honest.
The slave masters would bring the buck, the one that gets out of line. So all the other slaves would see lash after lash, show them the power to set an example. This is what you must do to fall in line. So when we see the 6 things that Kyrie must do to get his job back, I can wholeheartedly say I know Kyrie Irving is not.
Yeah, the one I saw was less chop cut up. They was focusing on that motherfucker face.
Yeah, I saw a less chopped version of that too. But even in that chopped version, it didn't change the contextuality of the situation that was there. What you saw was
add a lot to that shit.
You still get the
crux of it. But
you get his feigned obtuseness about what's happening. He's faking it. You're either faking it or you're not that smart, fam. One of the two. Which one you want to go with?
Either is horrible.
One
coupled with the relinquishing of the word ghetto. Oh, the Jews aren't looking good here. You're not looking bad before you ban us, but you're not looking good.
Hey, look, you're looking like a bunch of fucking hypocrites. I'm gonna say,
shit.
I'm gonna say, because that's what it is.
It's
what is it? If it's not that, then what is it?
It's a lot deeper than hypocrisy to me. It's self-serving. It's self-aggrandizing. It's
hypocrisy. The definition of hypocrisy is condoning something. I don't know the definition. I'm just bullshit. It's just doing some shit that you wouldn't want to be done.
Do what I say as I do.
Do as I say, not as I do. That's hypocrisy.
Yes.
And all I know is they run a bunch of fucking companies that pump hate speech towards black people 1,000,000 miles a minute with no proclivities. They do not pump anything that is antagonistic against them, regardless of the person that had created it. So miss me with because black people make music that is derogatory against black people, and that's on black people. Nah, Jewish people make documentaries, movies. They make all kinds of content that is derogatory towards Jewish people. They will not put it out. They will not support it. They don't. And if you try to support it or proliferate it, they will come down on you with the full might of their force.
Man, their reach is superfluous. God, fucking Adidas is a German Aryan company started by Nazis. If anybody should have been back in Kanye West, it was them.
And if it was anybody that would be like, he got a point.
If it was anybody that he got a point, should have.
I don't know why you paused there, but I'll pick it up. Hey, does anybody got a point? Farrakhan said that Jewish people gave Adolf Hitler money personally in the midst of all of that shit. You know the shit I'm talking about. You ain't got to define it. Jewish people loaned him money during that.
Honorary Aryans.
So when motherfuckers want to say that,
no, nigga, that ain't a joke. That's a real thing.
Oh yeah, definitely, it's a real thing. But when you want to bring that up, get shouted down. They never say that it's untrue. They just tell you to stop saying it.
It's
shut up. Hey,
they hit you with the Jewish version of why you always bringing the bullshit.
Life is a funny thing, child. But if producer extraordinaire, if you got that next clip, you can play that one for us.
I think I'm bringing back mutton chops.
You're not bringing them back. You might get them, but you're not bringing them back. Right. Ain't nobody else gonna want them motherfuckers.
I'm telling you.
This the Jaylen Brown one. This is the Jaylen Brown one. I mean, you can play that one. You can play that one. We got the LeBron, we got the Nick Cannon. Go ahead and play the Jaylen Brown, and then play the Jay Wills. after that.
To see E-Man get back on his feet. What was your reaction to seeing Nets pass him over for their job, and then what are the emotions like, kind of with the back and forth of all that kind of hanging over you guys?
I was happy to see me potentially get back on his feet. Obviously, the situation here in Boston is unfortunate. But I think what the Brooklyn Nets have, they got a lot more going on right now with the Kyrie Irving situation, which is everyone is monitoring. So I think that's probably what hindered him from probably getting that spot. But shout out to Jake Vaughn or Jack Vaughn. Shout out to him.
Jake Vaughn.
I think he'll be able to have some success there.
Joe said before the game, he wants you guys to feel really comfortable going to him. It's obviously an unusual situation. If you have questions or things you want to talk through with him, are there kind of other conversations that you guys feel important to have during this, and how's it going to have him as a year for that?
Yeah, Joe is super open. Even times when I don't want to talk to Joe, Joe's like, nah, you don't talk to me. So I appreciate that relationship from the head coach, who I'm looking forward to. We all believe in Joe. I believe in Joe. So I'm excited about the journey. There's going to be challenges. We need 11 games in. We got a lot more to go. So we just got to keep grinding, taking care of the ball, playing the right way, playing some defense, and keep winning some games.
Thanks.
Are you offended that he didn't know the name Jacques Vaughn? I guess that nigga ain't here, so can't ask him that. But
I don't even know who Jacques Vaughn is.
He's one of the coaches in the NBA. All right, so what are your takes on what Jaylen Brown said? And
I couldn't hear him. I couldn't hear that shit at all. But from what I've read cursory, it seems like he's been resounding that message for quite some time now, and that he's backing Kyrie in his in his contextual examination of his background, because that's what Kyrie proposed that he did. He was just digging into his own lineage. So other than that, I don't know. I couldn't hear the guy. Jaylen Brown. We're just recapping Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, I know where we at.
Motherfucker, y'all looking at the one nigga who didn't hear him, motherfucker.
No, he asked you the question. I wasn't going.
Nah, that was my question, asking his opinion, because I couldn't really hear the motherfucker either. And
take it away.
I'm waiting for you to get back.
All right. Well, spelled Lord with the T. All right. I'm not sure what clip played, but Jaylen Brown has come out recently, last day or so, and as the vice president of the NBA Players Association Union, Players Union, he's the vice president of that. And as the vice president, he came out with some views that were questioning the validity of the reach of the Brooklyn Nets. I think is what he was saying, right?
Yeah.
Right. So he questioned that reach, and he also insinuated that there would be an appeal to Kyrie's suspension coming forth. And that appeal to that suspension, to me, I think was going to bear some revelatory things.
Mm-hmm.
Because when there's an appeal, there's people going to investigate things, people going to talk about things, people have to discuss some shit in a real way, as opposed to just bullying motherfuckers and saying, no, not you. You have to actually explain your rationale behind the reasons why you're doing things. And when you start to have to explain the rationale behind why you're doing what you're doing, you're going to find yourself lacking in reasons to reach to be reasonable. to explain your situation, your point.
See, but there's always a workaround, and they have found that because now he is no longer technically on the suspended list, but they just not playing him.
He will play the very next game they play.
Here's my thing about the whole situation. With the fact that they're relinquishing this fight so easily means that there are probably other ramifications that we just don't see.
No, the fight was baseless. The fight was
that don't mean
punitive.
shit. They will punitively baseless our ass into the mud. The fact that they relinquished this one so quick is something is worth looking into.
Hey, look, fam. What I'm trying to tell you is that it just happened. It just seems like it was quick. It was just pressure mounting from everywhere because the same people that were the Kyrie Irving detractors started to turn to, hey, it's a bridge too far. The same way that Shannon was talking that shit before on last Friday, this Monday, man, the tone is a little different now. Stephen A. Smith switched up. Everybody switched up when they started to lash him just a little bit too much. It's almost as if a bunch of Negroes agreed to the appropriate amount of lashing, and the Nets went above the appropriate, the previously agreed upon amount. And motherfuckers was like, well, nope, that was enough. And it was like, oh, my bad. Okay, well,
turn him loose. Turn him loose.
Turn him loose. That's enough. The fucked up part about it is he should never been grabbed a hold of in the first place, but you motherfuckers is too blind to realize that part. And I think if you play that, you didn't play that Jason Williams clip yet, right?
Somebody superimposed Kyrie face over Denzel Washington crying in glory. Turn him loose.
If that ain't happened, that will happen. Yeah, this is the article that said the player plans to appeal the net suspension. Yeah, he said all that.
Was that Herschel Walker and fucking Clarence Thomas?
It might have been. But real quick, hey, producer, if you can pull up that Jason Williams clip real quick, because I want to get it out. It's about 2-3 minutes long. But I think it's a very important clip that Jay Williams had. And shout out to Jay Williams. Hey look. I judged you harshly for some shit in your past. That's just because I was a Bulls fan. It wasn't personal. But I think he's spot on this take. And this says 11 minutes. This is not an 11-minute video.
Right.
This is not the one I sent you.
Regardless what color, what creed, what race you are.
If there's no other commentary on that video, you can play that one. But his video, I don't believe, was 11 minutes at all. I could have sworn I sent it to you. I'm trying to see it now. I might have just sent it to myself.
I think Jay Williams was one of the first ones to come out and support Kyrie.
Yep. Go ahead and play it.
Human beings. I think that's important. But life is always about taking a stand and holding principles. So I want to explain what I feel like my stance is as a Black male in this world, okay? And conversations that I've had with my brothers and sisters in the Black community. And I want you guys to empathize with it and hear me on it. So when I hear what Kyrie Irving has to go through in order to be reinstated, I'm appalled. I'm appalled. And let me give you examples of how I feel like we don't have the same energy and hold other people who have dealt with racial tropes accountable. So when Sarah Silverman does blackface, or when Don Imus says nappy-headed hose, or when Howard Stern calls somebody the N-word in the skit, or when Brett Favre takes money from the state of Mississippi, we don't ask them to get sensitivity training. We don't ask them to donate $500,000. We don't asked them to meet with the Black National Caucus. They apologize. And then, you know what? The rest of the world moves on. But what I feel like is happening here, and that's how in the Black community, like we've been told that's how the process works, right? Think about that, Bert. That's how the process works. Oh, somebody does a blackface. Oh, it was a misunderstanding. We got it. Okay. You know, is that person really racist? Probably not. Was it ignorant? Probably so. Okay, we understand it. We move forward. We don't like it. We would love to hold them accountable. But society and having a lot of Black people in positions of power, we don't have the governability to do that. But what we feel like happens with Kyrie is even after an apology, it's not enough. We feel like there needs to be more. And a lot of people I've spoken to over the last couple of days talk about this thing. Older mentors of mine talk about buck breaking. It's so we talk about tropes. This is something that we feel like in the Black community that happened way back in the day, where if there was a slave that was defiant, right, he got broken in front of everybody in order to show that he was not in a position of power. And that at the end of the day, he had to do what he was told to do because what was mandated of him. And there's a bigger situation going on. What's happening with Kyrie Irving? If the Nets don't want him to be there, just don't want him to be there. But we should hold everybody accountable, even owners of teams accountable with things that are happening in other countries, i.e. China and Uyghurs and the Muslim genocide that is occurring that we hear Enes Kanter talk about. But we don't keep the same energy for everybody. We pick and choose what conversational points we want to make more polarizing. And I might lose my job. I might lose deal opportunities in the future for speaking out about even the platforms that continue to promote and profit a movie that is considered anti-Semitic to billions of people. They don't have to be accountable. Who is accountable? But we're going to put everything on the shoulders of Kyrie Irving, who, even though he said, I cannot be anti-Semitic because if I know where I came from, stating that he's one of the 4 lost tribes. He's saying that Blacks and Jews come from the same entity, the same thing. But we don't want to understand nuance. We want to be triggered by words. And we like fire. And we like things going viral on social media. And everybody has some kind of hot take. And we're calling people idiots. And we're calling people names because that's what we do. We just destroy each other. I ain't going to destroy each other, man. I'm not going to do that. Is Kyrie Irving anti-Semitic? Hell no. Could he have gone about it maybe a different way? That's what I would have advised him to do. But I'm not going to let you guys sit out here and make this dude out to be like he is a villain, like he is a bad person. He is looking to explore his heritage. Now, you can crucify me if you want. I don't give a damn anymore. It's time for people to start speaking out with nuance and speaking out on the principles they stand for. That's all I'll say.
Listen.
Shout out to Jay Will. Real quick, if he's going to be fired or canceled or suffer any detrimental effect from his video, it'll be because of that Uyghur shit. It'll be because he mentioned Big Bad China in their treatment of the Muslim population in their country. That's a real thing that motherfuckers act like ain't happening. It's happening. And anytime you want to mention it or bring it up, or broach the subject, you get told unceremoniously to shut the fuck up about it. And not just a black person, white people, anybody that wants to speak about it. They did that shit for the Fast and the Furious people. I think it was John, who was one of the Fast and Furious motherfuckers said something about China. And they had to immediately come out and was like, oh, my bad, I ain't mean it. That wasn't what I was trying to say. Even though they do fuck up a lot of Muslim people and they subjugating those individuals. I guess I wasn't supposed to mention it. But anyway. Jay Will, you are a scholar and a gentleman, sir. And I judge you less for losing to Andrew Schultz in the pickup basketball game now. Spot on comments. Every single point he hit, spot the fuck on. You want to say something?
I said that nigga lost to Andrew Schultz in basketball.
Yeah, he did. Wow. Yeah. It was like they played to like 10. He spotted them 8.
Oh, all right.
Still bad though, because he should have won and he didn't. He it was like 9-8. Spotted them 8. And it might have been like 9-9. He spotted them 9. They played till 10. It might have been that. The motherfucker threw some lucky shit up. But the fact you let them up, it shouldn't have been. You should have just crushed that boy and been on with it. He got you with it. He got you with the hezzy. And now,
white boy hezzy.
And now this white boy got to be known as the hezzy. Like it's a white boy thing now. You're the reason white boys get to say hezzy. Jay. Anyway, I'm getting besides the point. Shout out to you for standing strong, standing tall on this particular matter here of what actually matters, what's important in society. And you very well might lose your job behind this shit or get suspended. Maybe. I don't know. They might not be able to touch you right this second. But believe you me, in about 3-4 months, you're going to hear that Jay Will did something that garners some type of corrective action. I just think when you offend their sensibilities, they put a target on your back. They gonna fuck with you. Say that again.
I didn't say anything.
I thought Deion said something, but it was double. I don't know. Yeah, but they're gonna fuck with you. But he was 100% absolutely correct, and that is why Brooklyn dropped that banner. Once the NBA Players Union vice president comes out and threatens a lawsuit behind some shit that you know you don't have a leg to stand on, and then that individual that you've been shitting on starts to garner support, and it ain't nothing like fighting a fucking underdog. You don't want to do it. You don't want to fight an underdog that got support, got some support, that gets a groundswell of that somehow comes out looking partly sympathetic.
Good old Rudy effect.
That's a hard. You gotta quell that shit. You gotta get that the fuck up out of here. We don't want no martyrs. They don't want no martyrs. They want to make examples of individuals.
Trying to say this nigga with Joan of Arc.
Yeah, they don't want no Joan of Arc. That make a motherfucker win a war. It turns the tide. It turns the tide.
And they say Joan of Arc 2 was crazy. Hearing all them messages.
They say all the time. Anybody that says anything against what they say is crazy. And I get it's crazy to you.
And it's always when a motherfucker have a different religious opinion than another motherfucker. The motherfucker's immediately a nut.
What's the greatest form of control that human society has ever been able to accomplish?
What's the greatest form of control? Propaganda.
Religion.
Religion?
Religious control is the greatest form of control humans have ever invented. It's a structure wholly built up on arbitrary rules that you can never verify, that are perpetuated from a tiered source, singular in focus, with an agenda. We can't say it's not an agenda, can we?
Oh, we can't say that.
I'm just saying. I think it bears out to that eventuality that it's a system of control. It can have roots in truth, as most systems of control do, because it has to. I can't just outright, bold-faced, 100% lie to you. I have to give you some kernels of truth, some things that legitimize my position to go forth.
Earth is flat, motherfucker.
To make, huh?
I'm sorry.
To make this the most effective form of control. And then you'll indoctrinate yourself into it, and you'll begin to be the controls that I need. I think this leads into this lends into what you were saying earlier about religion. Does it not?
What was I saying earlier about religion?
About how they put motherfuckers in there to control shit.
Oh, that was more about slavery than religion.
Oh, okay. But all right.
Yeah, they were just motherfuckers. They use religion to quell slave rebellions, but by necessarily religion, the religion because it hadn't taken a stronghold over the African traditions at that point. So it was more about making a central figure sexually pleasing to the group, and they use religion to do that. So, like I said, they let these motherfuckers fight in the middle of the town square. When they would bring the slaves over, they would let them just manage themselves until they figured out the hierarchy, and then they would pick from them the religious dictator. But that was more about fucking people's wives. They use the religion to control the people with Jesus.
Hey, look, it's still about fucking people's wives.
Freaky Puritans.
Is it not?
Freaky Puritans.
If any system you have that is built upon removing the men from that society, that group, is based in historically established wartime principles.
Speaking of historically
No, I mean,
wartime principles, did you motherfuckers watch The Woman King?
I have not watched it yet. I already know. At a point we're gonna discuss it, but I gotta watch it first. But is that not the thing though? In wartime, I separate the men from the women and the children because if I separate the men, I take the men out, kill all of them. I can't because I can never use the men. But the women and children, I can bed the women. I can rear the children to be my soldiers.
The fuck?
What?
You just flip sides, nigga.
I know. Hey, my phone signal paused for a second, and then it when it readjusted, it flipped my side. It did it. I didn't do it. But I don't know if I got cut off. But did you hear what I was saying?
Yeah, I heard you.
Okay. Does that make sense? Am I just drawing at straws here?
It makes perfect sense. Like I said, I just hate to be this astute and this dynamic that they can concoct this goddamn 400 years long scheme of servitude. I've seen these motherfuckers in action, and they're not that quick. They kind of stumbled into success.
I think they're very fucking quick. I think they are. They don't have to be necessarily have the best players, and it's not all the time foolproof. But I think they are very fucking quick. They come up with shit all the time. It's all in perpetuation of their historically established goal, but they just find new ways to run a trap. Do they? I just think that's what it is. You could disguise a blitz many different ways. It's still a blitz. It's still a blitz. You're still bringing the house. You could flash the safety to the line of scrimmage. You could bounce them back, but if that motherfucker ends up blitzing, if he ends up crossing the line of scrimmage,
say no
it
matter
was a
how
blitz no matter how you slice it. You're doing what you're trying to do. You're just trying to disguise it and be slick about it. But the plan don't change. It's the same shit. We just got to be able to recognize that shit and be disciplined enough to know when the play is being ran, not to fall for the flashing shit.
when you see the nigga line up in the goal line formation, you should know it's either a blitz or tricknology.
See a motherfucker line up in goal line formation, you should know that they're not trying to get 20 yards. They're just trying to move it an inch, fam. And sometimes that inch is good enough. Gets us a first down. You think that incremental move they made is insignificant. No, it's very significant. It allowed them the positioning.
Goal line defense, and the motherfuckers can feign a blitz.
Right. I'm talking about the. I'm talking about. Well, hey, look, I'm mixing metaphors and all. I've been drinking for 3 hours and 36 minutes.
Goal line defense. And
so if some of the metaphors get a little cloudy.
Blitz or tricknology, that could be a cover 10, brother. They could send everybody off the line.